Hey everybody, do you have back pain? Because no matter what type of back pain you have, I'm going to show you the one simple stretch to fix it. No, that is absolutely not what I'm going to do. So let's talk about this a little bit, okay? Let's talk about the complexities of back pain, what that even means, and let's see if we can get you to make some better decisions concerning dealing with your back pain so you can hopefully feel better and move better. So let's start here. I got a bunch of stuff behind me today. I got a skeleton, I got a spine, I got 2 books, I got some balloons. So first of all, what is a back? Right? We should kind of start here if we're talking about back pain. So let's just say this. Clearly, for all of you that have ever had back pain or currently have back pain, unfortunately, you know where your pain is, right? In other words, you know where you feel it. And that's largely where all the conversation and actions take place. They take place where you feel that pain. So, if you're feeling it right in the low middle, then all the conversation and actions typically take place here in this spot, the spot where you're feeling the pain. If it's, oh, my lower left, then all the conversations typically take place concerning the lower left area. And what I mean by that is the following. People often treat this like where the sensation is must be where the problem, the root problem is, and that must require something to be done to that location where that sensation exists. And then from there we're off running, right? And we've got a lot of different people out there, different types of solutions, if you will, right, to your back pain. And they say, well, they'll say a bunch of things, yeah? It's tight, it's loose, something's bunched up, something's out of place, whatever it is, it largely tends to center around this spot. Maybe it's this spot. It's a little lower off to the right more, down here, right? The SI area, right? So then it's like, hey, we got to do something to this spot. It makes sense. This is where you feel it, right? Well, we're going to explore that. Let me start out by saying this. If you experienced a local physical trauma to an area, that thought process just makes all the sense in the world. In other words, you're walking, you slipped, and boom, you fell right here. You should probably have right there looked at, right? Because something might have happened to right here. And then we can play it out. You're walking and you slipped and you fell into a blah, 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 and the blah, blah, blah hit you right there. We should look at that, okay? This makes sense. But in the absence of those situations, it may not make a lot of sense to have our conversation centering around the location of your back pain. So again, let's take a step back now and let's say, what is the back, right? I guess it's on the back side, right? And then we could have this interesting conversation, whereas if we kind of go to the side of your body, a side view, and we say, where does the back start? If this is the middle, is everything in front of it the front and everything behind it the back? So if we're having back pain, should we be considering everything this half back? It gets kind of weird, right? And let's look at something else. Let's start to look at this from a muscular perspective. Just muscular, nothing more, just muscular. And we can say, hey, let's stick with that original thought process, which is, hey, I've got pain, it's right here, it's right in this area, right? It's right here, something's got to be wrong right here. Well, what if we have something that crosses this area, but exists outside of it as well? Like, look at all this stuff. These are a bunch of muscles, as you can see, that live in this area, but some of them go all the way up to your neck. Oh man, right? And look, you have these tiny little ones in here, right? You almost can't even see them. Some bigger ones. You can see a whole bunch of them, right? Let's see, we got some more for you. We got more for you, right? We got a whole bunch of them down to the neck. So that's just from a muscular perspective here. So in other words, you've got some muscles that cross that spot that you're complaining about, but they live in other places. All right, so that's just the muscular perspective. So does that mean now we need to broaden our view to, hey, maybe so we need to do something to the muscles that cross the area? So that might have brought us a little bit outside of the area, right? The one spot. So maybe you're thinking, okay, and you know, and maybe you've tried some solutions to help you with your back pain. Maybe they didn't help. Hey, if they did, then you're all set, right? But maybe they didn't help. So let's look what else. Let's look at this. Let's go back into the bones and stuff, right? And if you even want to say in between the bones, there's all these discs and all this stuff. Okay. Well, how about movement of the area? We're still sticking with that idea of the area of pain. Well, if this is the area of pain and I bend, clearly I'm affecting the area, right? Look, if I bend this thing, I'm affecting the area, right? So if movement in the area affect the area? If that's the case, because we're still stuck with that idea of the area, then we're back to those pictures of those muscles I just showed you, because all these muscles move the spine. All those I just showed you. 2.5 pages of muscles, some of them going from the pelvis, attaching all over, bigger ones, thicker ones, thinner ones, up to the neck, some of them, some deeper, some more superficial, all these muscles. And by the way, if we're just going to say pain in the low right back, those muscles on the left side, they also move this area too. So now we need to branch out more, right? To maybe muscles on the left and the right, all the way from down here, all the way up to the neck. Because now we're like, wow, all this stuff influences this. But now, I gotta turn them around to the side, because I can go back to that book, just trust me, and show you a whole bunch of muscles on the side. It's an interesting conversation as what is a side, right? Because we have some bones that go from the back to the side and the front. Are they side bones, front bones, back bones, or is there... Interesting questions. Anyway, so now we've got muscles on the sides that attach to like ribs and to pelvis and to other tissue in the front that moves that area as well. So we have muscles on the side of you that move this area of complaint. So muscles on the right move this spinal area of complaint. But here's the thing, muscles on the left also move that same area that someone's complaining about. Okay, now let's go to the front. You see where we're going. Same thing. I've got muscles on the front that move the spine, that move the area of complaint back here that we were talking about. So now maybe we need to broaden this more from going from the one spot to all the muscles on the back on both sides, left and right. Same side as the issue, opposite side of the issue. To muscles on the side, same side of the issue, opposite side of the issue. To muscles on the front, same side and opposite side. Man, so now I got all these muscles, right? So maybe someone's saying, that's my core, right? And maybe there's some highly trained therapist or someone that's talking about core. Maybe there's someone selling a program for $20 for core, or you're on Instagram and you're seeing something, the newest program for training the core. Maybe there's some PhDs putting out some articles on the core. But listen, I just named all the stuff around the spine, and you're thinking core. But look, remember, we're talking about the idea now that something's moving the spot that hurts. So we're still almost stuck on the idea of the spot is the problem still. Although now we've moved off to maybe anything moving the spot could be the problem, right? So how about this? How about if I showed you a muscle that attaches to the upper arm bone and attach the one end to the upper arm bone and the other end to the ribs, to the spine, to the pelvis, right? To the shoulder blade. So a muscle in your arm attaches to all those other areas, and guess what? That muscle in your arm can move that spot too. So, oh man, guess what muscle that is? It's the lat, right? So now, remember, so if a muscle in my arm can move my spine, that means an arm muscle is a core muscle. So you see, the idea of core becomes really confusing too. So am I training my core when I do pull downs or rows? If you're getting confused, that's fine. Stay with me. You're supposed to be. A lot of these solutions don't make any sense. So remember, the premise of this video was, let's have you rethink back pain maybe to help you make better solutions to help yourself more. So instead of jumping on the idea of it's the core, it's my weak core, and it's the location, we're seeing some holes in this thought process now. And by the way, let's add another one. I've got some muscles that attach to my leg, that attach to my spine. So I have leg muscles that can move the spot or that directly influence the spot. So that means my leg is my core, right? So that means if I'm doing squats, I'm doing core work, or you see the problem? It's kind of like, wow, it seems like everything is my core. Kind of, right? So where do we go now? Well, we need to broaden this out, I think, even more. Look at this. If I'm not just focusing on the location anymore, and now I'm thinking about all the muscles that not only cross the location, but now I'm thinking about muscles that can just move the location. And some of those muscles don't even cross the location. So now I've got to broaden, and I'm looking at other muscles that just move it. But how about other muscles that may influence muscles that move it? So one more time. How about if we can look at other things that may influence the muscles that move the spot? So in other words, the spot doesn't actually move, but other things can influence the muscles that can move the spot, right? So think about this now. If I'm telling you, hey, I've got muscles that can move the body, let's see, this way, yeah? So all I need is something to stimulate, or say stimulate, these muscles, right? Because if I get something that starts telling these to work harder, then that's directly affecting the spot, right? Well, look, if I pick up something in just my left hand, that means you're going to be pulled more to the left. Imagine, you're running in the airport and you have a heavy suitcase in your left hand. You're being pulled to the left. That means this stuff over here needs to work harder. So now I've got muscles I've got something in my hand tugging this way in my arm that's causing this thing to have to work more, and now maybe it's bugging me more. What if I have something in front of me, like 2 dumbbells in front of me, right? Now I'm being pulled forward. So I'm thinking about working biceps, right? And I'm being pulled forward. So that's actually asking muscles that move the spot to work more. If I do a lunge or something, right? Like that exercise, the lunge exercise. I'm back. Kind of looks like this: 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, kind of a thing, right? This kind of a thing, a lunge, and they're going up and down. Doing that will ask all these muscles to work too. So here's what I want to share with you. We're off of this idea of just the one location, right? I've got low back pain. Someone look at my low back. Someone please do something to my low back. Please look where it hurts. We're moving off of that because we're recognizing that lots of things can influence it. And we're looking at muscles that cross that spot, muscles that don't cross that spot, muscles that are on the same side, muscles that are on the opposite side, muscles that are in the arms, muscles that are in the legs. It kind of looks like possibly we need a more systemic, whole body perspective, approach to considering how the whole system is affected. Because could you imagine if your body wasn't good at moving something with this side? This is the opposite side, remember? What if your body just wasn't good at handling loads over here in the upper left quadrant, if you will? If it's not good at dealing that, might the area of complaint have to brace harder? Probably. So now we're thinking, oh my goodness, if I've got issues, I'm just going to use these words for this video. If I've got left shoulder area quadrant issues, my lower right back could end up hurting. It could be the case. I'm not saying it is. I'm certainly not saying if there's pain here, this is always a problem. So that's not how this works either. I'm merely pointing out that having a full body, whole body, holistic, systematic perspective might be the solution you need to finally help you move better and feel better. And what we're talking about here is being able to assess your quality, the quality of your muscle system. Because it's your muscle system that needs to move you and needs to handle the forces placed on you. And it looks like in all these scenarios, I'm talking about muscles that either cross that area or affect that area. So if I have a muscle system whose quality, I'm not saying strength, whose quality isn't good enough, that could end up meaning or resulting in pain in my low back. So then we have to look at this muscle quality. perhaps it's time for a full body perspective. And yet, as muscle system specialists, that's the thing we can offer, is an ability, an opportunity to look at the full body perspective to see how the system is holding up and where, so to speak, where the quality has diminished. Because if we have a diminished quality throughout the muscle system, it could result in your low back pain. So I hope you're not going through back pain. I hope you never had. I certainly hope you're not going through it now. But if you're still looking for solutions, let's change your perspective. Let's change your perspective and try to give you a total new opportunity, a new way to deal with this and get you moving better, because that's what muscles do. They move you better so you can feel better and just get back to all the things you've been wanting to do.